The World's Fair of 1893 inspired many writers, cartoonists, and businessmen. The fair earned the nickname the White City because of the many stucco buildings constructed for exhibits. The sight of all the white buildings inspired author Frank Baum to create the Emerald City in his wonderful Wizard of Oz book. The meaning behind the characters of Oz represent all the different people and businesses of the 1890s. Dorothy is an everyday woman who lands on and kills the Wicked Witch of the East, who represents the East Coast bankers. That action then frees the Munchkins, who represent the poor. However, the Wicked Witch of the West, who represents the West Coast bankers, remains free. Dorothy must deal with her and get back to Kansas, which is the normality. The Good Witch of the North, representing the Electorate of the North, tells Dorothy to find the Wizard of Oz, Oz being short for ounce of gold and silver. She follows the yellow brick road that represents the banker's gold standard and heads towards the Emerald City, representing Washington, D.C. On the journey, Dorothy encounters the Scarecrow, who represents the farmers, a Tin Woodsman, who represents the industrial workers, and the Cowardly Lion, representing the politicians. Next comes Walt Disney's theme parks and how he was influenced by the World's Fair.
Walt Disney's father Elias was employed at the World's Fair of 1893. During Walt Disney's childhood, his father would tell him stories of the World's Fair. Disney always loved hearing how big it was and all the excitement people had. Later in Disney's life, him and his brother moved to Hollywood and created Disney Brothers Studio, which later changed to Walt Disney Studio. In 1953, Walt Disney dreamed of a magical kingdom where children and parents could come and have fun, which created through his vision of Disneyland. Next, in the 1960s, Walt Disney wanted to give millions of residents in the eastern U.S. an opportunity to enjoy the entertainment. Disney created another magical place called Disney World. In Disney World, many characters walked around through the park just as the tribal people roamed the midway in the World's Fair of 1893. The World's Fair official goals were to encourage American unity, new technology, and stabilize great change. Just as Walt Disney's goal for his magical kingdoms were excitement like a World's Fair that could be visited and enjoyed any time of the year. In many amusement parks like Disneyland in Paris, there is a moving sidewalk similar to the one introduced in the World's Fair of 1893.
A moving sidewalk is a slow-speed convoy built for transporting people. The moving sidewalk was first built and patented by Alfred Speer in 1871. He created the moving sidewalk, or sometimes called movable pavement, in order to change the way people got around in New York City. Eugene Hennard built the first electric movable sidewalk for the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. His design included benches. The Columbia Moving Sidewalk Company charged 5 cents for a ride. Riders could also either stand or walk on the platform that traveled at a speed of 2 miles per hour. The moving sidewalk carried steamboat passengers to the exposition entrance. The World's Fair moving sidewalk inspired modern-day moving sidewalks. In 1954, the Speed Walk was built in Jersey City, New Jersey. That is still standing today. It was the first simple moving sidewalk that was built by Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. It was a 5.5 feet wide platform that ran up an incline of 277 feet to use to exit the station at the speed of 1.5 miles per hour. The moving sidewalks can be found in airports, railroad stations, subways, hospitals, sports arenas, shopping malls, zoos, museums, exposition halls, and amusement parks such as Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Not only do moving sidewalks influence us today, but it also influence entertainment. A little over 50 years ago, the cartoon character George Jetson stepped onto a moving sidewalk outside his high-tech house. The Jetsons allowed people to, quote, dream the impossible and achieve it, end quote. This childhood character was inspired by several technological achievements. For example, Apple, Siri, Skype, intelligent cooktops, and moving sidewalks, some awesome technology that would make the Jetsons jealous. Although the moving sidewalk was a major attraction, the Ferris wheel was another great attraction.
Back in 1893, the first Ferris wheel was built at the Chicago World's Fair. It ran off of two 1,000-horse-powered engines that weighed 56 tons. At the highest point of the ride, it was 264 feet. The cars each fit 36 passengers and were 13 feet wide. At full capacity, the wheel held an outstanding 2,160 people. In addition, there were 3,000 lights around the crown to shine at night. It took 20 minutes to go around and cost 8 cents per person. In 1904, the Ferris wheel was moved to St. Louis, Missouri for the Louisiana Purchase Exposition and demolished there in 1906 for scrap metal. Ferris wheels today are in all fairs. It's such a big part of the World's Fair. In 1893, it was an easy money maker that everyone loved. Some changes are the seating today. There are only 2 to 5 people on each seat today. It's about $10 for a ride and takes about 12 to 20 minutes to go around.
And that's how the World's Fair influenced entertainment.